everyone. My name is Stella, and thank you for tuning in to Bibi and Yaya, where you will hear real-life stories every week, which people have sent to us, detailing their life experiences, feelings, emotions, and reactions along the way. Today's letter comes to us from someone who wishes to remain anonymous, but for practical purposes, I will refer to the writer of this letter as Ameerah. It's a beautiful name anyway. Ameerah met and fell in love with a wonderful man, but her parents vehemently objected to this love match for no apparent reason. This was very painful and hurtful for Ameerah. But her best friend is also in the story for her hand in this sad situation. What did her girlfriend do to possibly sabotage Ameerah's relationship? We'll find out in just a moment. So before I begin our story, please note that the people who write into us share their stories in hopes of connecting with others who may be able to give advice, comments, and opinions such as yourself. You may have just the right solution to today's personal life story. Here on Bibi and Yaya, we will also share our thoughts and opinions with the hopes that we can help those who share their stories with us. If you have a story to tell, please send us an email by using the email provided in the description box below. And by hitting the thumbs up button, sharing, and subscribing to this channel, you can stay up to date with these very personal life stories. This helps us to bring you news stories and adventures every week, so you don't miss a thing. And FYI, I may interject a thought or two of my own during this story, which will be referred to as a note. Hello, Stella. Can you post me anonymously or change my name, please? Note, yes, we will call you Ameerah. I wanted your opinion on something my best friend has done. I am a 26-year-old Muslim girl. I had met someone suitable for me. We loved each other very much. He never made me do anything I didn't want to do. On the contrary, he always wanted to protect me. He never touched me either. He always respected me. He came to my family to ask for my hand in marriage so that we could continue to get to know each other better. Once I had finished my master's degree, we would get married right away, because he also didn't want to stress me out with my studies. And also, he was preparing for our wedding. However, my parents objected. They didn't agree at all for no good reason. They totally disrespected him, and they looked at him as though he was nothing of a person. Note, parents are to be respected, but in this day and age, an adult child has every right to free will and to marry who they love. Now back to the story. Of course, my best girlfriend knew the story from the start. Being my girlfriend, she knew everything, and my parents also knew that she was my best friend. He was a pious, respectful, responsible man who honored me. He made every effort on my behalf. But my parents pressured me to leave him. They didn't even want to listen to me. My dad bluntly showed me that he wasn't even interested in my situation. My mom told me straight out to cut off contact with him, and it was really hard because we loved each other so very much. He didn't want us to stop keeping in touch, but I was too scared. Too much family pressure, so I let him go. I have never disrespected my parents. I've always done what they have told me to do. I didn't understand why now that I had found my happiness, they didn't even try to communicate with me about my relationship with this amazing gentleman. My boyfriend is a very intelligent, educated man who has an extended education and a good job. I became deeply depressed and was totally traumatized. I couldn't reconcile my family, studies, and being in love at the same time. With this pressure, I cut ties with him in spite of myself. My mother was determined to find me another man and introduce him to me since she didn't care for the one which I had brought home. I didn't know that my best friend knew this, and she didn't tell me. My girlfriend knew the new man in question, so my mother called my friend. She even went so far as to give him the telephone number of the man who my mother wanted. That way my family could put me in contact with him without me even knowing. My friend didn't tell me any of this. Note, is your best friend the best you've got? With friends like her, who needs enemies? I knew my best friend was in on it, because she came to apologize to me. Apparently, she didn't want to hurt me. I told her that I forgave her, then I distanced myself from her. Because for me, the main thing is, my friend should have remained neutral. She was not to give the phone number of this new man to my mother and to tell me what my mother's intentions were. She witnessed me crying over this insane part of my life. In the past, when my friend was ready to get married, I went and asked my cousin if he wanted a serious marriage relationship. That way I could introduce him to my best friend, and he accepted. So I put them in contact with one another, and after 6 months, they were engaged. And 3 months later, they got married. I liked my girlfriend very much. Note, it must have been very difficult for you, Ameerah, to know that your best friend had betrayed you, even though you played matchmaker for her and her husband. Today, I don't feel the same way about her as I once did because I feel like she was part of the breakup between my boyfriend and me. I am not at all the same way with her as I used to be. However, I have sincerely forgiven her, but if I see her or I see something from her, I remember my sad story, and I'm still not over it. I think of my boyfriend often, and I am sometimes on edge because of it. I don't want to know about my girlfriend's life anymore, just as I don't want to give her the opportunity to know mine. Looks like something was broken in me. I took a step back from her and my parents. Even though I respect them, I no longer tell them about my life. My sister tells me that I have to go back to how I was before, but I can't. Thank you for reading my story and allowing me to vent. What are your suggestions, your opinions, and what can you advise me to do moving forward? Thank you, Bibi and Yaya. Thank you, Ameerah, for sending us your letter. Please note that I will now give my opinions as to Ameerah's difficult situation. These are my words, my thoughts, and as I said before, my opinions. I am not a relationship expert, but rather have lived life as everyone else, and I'd like to share my thoughts with you. First, I believe Ameerah has been through much pain due to the fact that her relationship has ended. Perhaps Ameerah's religion and culture had her accept her parents' choice, even though it was not what Ameerah wanted. This can be very difficult when one's religion and strict upbringing interferes with life choices and matters of the heart. Ameerah was in love with a seemingly perfect man, but her parents sought to destroy Ameerah's relationship with this man so she could meet someone her parents approved of. This has all the ingredients of an arranged marriage. And none of us are privy as to why her parents objected, and we will probably never know why. In any case, I believe Ameerah, as an adult woman, should choose between her parents and her own free will. I understand that this can be quite challenging in some segments of the Muslim religion, but perhaps one day Ameerah will be able to break free of the chains which bind her. Second, the relationship breakup with Ameerah's boyfriend was most likely made worse due to the fact that her girlfriend was in cahoots with Ameerah's mother in trying to get Ameerah to meet someone else who her parents did approve of. Even though Ameerah's best friend finally apologized for her role in this matter, Ameerah has definitely found it difficult to trust her friend again and has decided to distance herself from her girlfriend. I think that this was the best option for Ameerah. Ameerah may one day find true love again, and we all wish her the very best of life. So, perhaps you may have a solution or good advice for Ameerah. If so, we would like to hear from you. And you can read other people's comments, solutions, and opinions below relating to this and other real-life situations. Remember that by liking and subscribing to Bibi and Yaya, you will hear me read letters every week, which people send us about issues they are dealing with in their lives. These are real-life personal stories and people's everyday experiences. And don't forget, if you have a personal story or issue which you would like to share with us, please send us an email using the email provided in the description box below. We would be very happy to hear from you and offer any advice on how to deal or cope with your personal experience. We thank you for joining us here today on Bibi and Yaya. See you next time.